dead.
All I have to say, man, I've lost four 4 days of my life.
Oh yeah.
Due to the flu. Yeah, me and Mrs.
Oh.
BG brought it home from work, and she decided to share that with me. And then,
Oh well, that's the sign of a
isn't that
loving
nice?
couple.
Isn't that nice? Yeah.
That's so
So
nice of her.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why you went. You were like radio silence for a
I
few
went.
days from me.
I went dark because it was dark here. It was dark here. Yeah.
We
So
had
yeah,
the covers going.
both sick at the same time.
Uh,
I did my best taking care of her, and then I was like, I can't. And then she started taking care of me. So then when she started feeling better, but
oh, that's good.
yeah, man, that flu is no joke. So
I'm surprised you bounced back as fast as you did. You just killed
we
your
caught
weekend, huh?
caught it early enough because she started having problems like on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and then I didn't start feeling bad until Friday, and then Saturday she came home early from being on call,
Mm.
and then she's like, I can't be touching patients' stuff if I'm sick, type of thing.
Yeah.
So she went to urgent care, got tested, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you got influenza A." And she's like, "Which is the bad one?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, great."
Oh, goody. Thank you.
So then she got that Tamiflu stuff.
Yeah.
180-degree turn right there. First dose.
Next time I feel it going on, you told me about that. I'm going to go and do that myself. So
Yeah, do the teledoc thing.
yeah. And you want to know the greatest thing about it all? And this is where you have just done a great service here, because they're watching, so they heard your story.
Well, hello.
Welcome. And now you know. And I think it was appropriate because, as you can see by the hoodie I'm wearing with the Mandalorian on it and my cup of coffee, we're in the midst of the winter.
Yes.
If you call it that. But we've actually had some pretty nice weather here lately. It's been a nice cloud cover.
Yeah, I mean, we finally had actual weather.
Yeah. But the thing that's cool about it here,
but I missed it all. I mean,
there was a nice chill in the air, but not a painful chill. But what's so cool about this constant cloud cover that we've had, I've noticed it's actually kept the temperatures a little up.
Yes, that's
weird
true.
How that works out. And it's been really nice. I've been going out and working in my trailer, and it's been wonderful at night, during the day, early morning. It doesn't matter. I love this time of year. Love it. I love it. I love it.
I love it
when I like Phoenix.
This is why everybody comes here this time of year.
Yep. And that's why we have some of the best hobby shops.
That's true.
Do you see how I did that? I said,
I like how you like how you spun that in there. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what we're talking about. Is hobby shops. And before
that,
you know what we got to do before we kick in the conversation. Bring that back.
Which side are you on today?
This is I'm to your left. Yes. So this is BG.
That's Luka Cee.
And we are
the model guys
on
the YouTubes.
The YouTubes. And I got the program director right here. Say hi, Felix. He wants to say hi.
Hi.
He's getting involved. There he is. He's ready to make sure we're doing our job. And today's topic is we're going to talk about hobby shops. Why do some hobby shops fail? And it's opinions. Why do you think some hobby shops fail and some hobby shops prosper like crazy, right? Like, Felix, what's your favorite hobby shop? Andy's? You like Andy's, don't you? Loves going to Andy's. We went to Andy's yesterday, and he was just running around the house. Andy's! You like going to Andy's? Because he's got a gumball machine. So think about that.
I'm starting to run around the house yelling Andy's, because I haven't been out of the house for 4 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was nice. I hadn't been out of the house in a while, and going there was kind of fun. He's got cord wrapped around my neck. I know he loves me, but he gets a lot of joy out of seeing me expire sometimes.
Should I record this also in case you have a demise?
Just in case. I want everybody to know. Yeah. So now another sip of the cold coffee.
I have
Um,
one of the essential ingredients for coffee.
oh yeah, I got some of that too over here. I'm ready to rock. So here we go about hobby shops. You constantly seeing people make posts on the Facebooks about, oh, my hobby shop is closing. It's been open since way back in the 70s. I've been noticing a lot lately, but I've also been noticing new hobby shops that are opening up. I've seen more new hobby shops open up in this past year than I have heard of in a while.
Really?
Yeah, and I think this is a good thing. And quite honestly, of course, we've beat this to death. I'm not even going to get into it. The hobby is not dead. It's not showing any sign of the death of the hobby. And all the reasons why people say their hobby shop closed, they like to blame it on kids aren't into the hobby. They play too many video games. The hobby's dying and the kits are too expensive and all that blah, blah, wonk. But yet there's hobby shops opening and there's hobby shops moving to other areas and surviving that. And there's hobby shops that have been open for a long time and are recording their record years.
Right.
These past couple of years. So what the heck is going on here, BG? I'm a little bit confused.
Well, let me alleviate your confusion with my opinion.
Let's hear it.
Economics. Okay, next topic. What do you got?
Okay, we'll see ya. Here's the producers.
Well, I've been to several hobby shops in Southern California in this area here, and then also, Mrs. BG and I like to, travel, do all the things that we do when we travel.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our fun things to do when we travel is look up local hobby shops to go check out. So we've been to a few.
Oh yeah.
Not like the hobby shop whisperer, Mr. Tim.
Oh my goodness, geez.
We've been to our fair share, and I mean I've been to them in Montana, Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Arizona, freaking Georgia, and then all the way up into Louisville, yeah. And I'm hoping to get a couple more in the next year or so. But
that's awesome.
The one common thing that I happen to see amongst them all is that a lot of the shops have like this core business that just supports them. Yeah. Because they're in an area that makes them convenient to get to. And I think one of the key factors is the person that runs the store is a very welcoming person and you enjoy being there.
I think that's probably the top reason right there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I've been to, like I said, my fair share, and there's been ones where I've walked in, I'm like, dude, let's move here just because of this store, just so I can come here and hang out, because it was like walking into the set of chairs. Hey, welcome.
Yeah.
Pull up a chair. What's your name? Where are you guys from? How are you from out of town? You have a tan, Never seen you before. Are you guys local? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's a really important thing. And I have a million examples in my head on that. And you know what? It's kind of like how this doesn't work all the time for all retail. It's hobby shops where that is really an important thing, because there's been a lot of hobby shops that have gone to the wayside that the owner doesn't want to talk to you. You're kind of almost, or whoever's there, there's people it's just a job. I don't really want to talk about this. Please just buy your stuff and leave. And you feel that from them. It's like, well, I can get this at Walmart, that type of attitude, or whatever.
Yep.
And but
I have an example of that.
Hobby shops, though, it's a different world, because the people that come, if you want people that are frequent, people in the hobbies, it's all about it's an enjoyment experience. Going to the hobby shop is part of the hobby to them. So they want to come there, they want to meet up with friends. How many times do we do it? Everybody does it. Is you plan a day that let's all meet up at the hobby shop today, and they hang out. Like I was at Andy's yesterday, and as I was leaving, there was a group of buds that showed up. They had some of their family members with them. You know, that they come in all the time. They drove up in different vehicles. They were outside talking. They come in. They happen to be friends with Andy. They come in. I was talking with other friends of mine too. They're airplane builders, so you know they're all right guys. But anyways, you know, and it's, hey, how you doing? And it's just a happy atmosphere, and people want to hang out. And store owners like Andy is a great example. Is he even sets a store up for it? Is you can come and hang out all day. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
Groups can come in if they want to hang out. There's a place in the back to go sit down and talk and build models, open up kits you might have just bought. Or
I'm wondering when Andy's going to put in one of those Circle K roller food things in the back there, start making some hot dogs.
But you know, he almost did that. I mean, that's the whole reason why he has the drink refrigerator.
Yeah, he's got the
when that was down on him, he was like so bummed out. It's not about making money off the drinks, it's about having it. It keeps people at the store. And he has actually mentioned about that with food.
Everything in there is like $1 or something. It's not even that expensive.
No, it's just about just getting his money back. It's not about making money. I mean, it's one of the things, like, for instance, there's two things he has that why Felix gets so excited. He's had it in there, and I think the gumballs are just as old. But he's had this big gumball machine. You've seen it. And Felix is now, so that's like, I got to bring a quarter with me every time. And it was like when Denise was little, when we were going there, that's the thing she would run to. She just love the gumball machine. And now she thinks it's so cool that Felix is into gumball machine at Andy's. So, hey, it gets him excited to go when I say we're going to Andy's. That's what he's into right now. And then he wants also the Pokemon models. But
those are fun.
They are fun. He builds them completely by himself.
Nice.
Yeah. But so you know, that's I think that is a very, very important part to having a successful hobby shop. Because there were some hobby shops, I think this was before your time, you might not know them. There were a few hobby shops in town that when you went in there, the people behind the counter definitely made you feel like, just hurry up and buy and get out of here. You know, I mean, there was this one kid, he'd sit there, he was always playing his video games on his laptop, and you were really just breaking into his, I'm killing time while I'm here.
So it's like the Simpsons, the comic book store guy. Excuse me, are you going to make a purchase sometime today? Yeah,
exactly. Can I help you find anything? Isn't that annoying?
Not a library.
That is excellent. Exactly, the comic book guy from. Yeah, that's exactly it. And nobody, you know, and then it's like it takes the wind out of your sails. Mm-hmm. People want to come in and hang out with their buds. They want to feel like they're friends with the owner.
I'll tell you, when I first moved to the Valley back in 2003, aside from looking for work, the first thing I did was look up a local hobby shop. They're not around anymore, but I finally, well, first of all, this is a two-part story. One, I learned about trying to drive in this valley where the streets have the same street names from one end of the state to the other, right? And you have to look everything up by the zip code, because the street numbers go up and they go down, and they go up and they go down. They start all over again at the center of each town. Anyway, digressing. That's a delivery driver complaint. So finally found the shop, pulled in, bars on the windows. I'm like, okay, all right, setting a weird vibe. No postings in the windows of anything, no model stuff or anything like that. So we'll walk inside, and as soon as you walk inside, there's a counter to your left that's in an L shape, and there's a guy standing on a raised platform. And I walk in, and like my eye line is the semi-automatic pistol on his hip, and then on his other hip he's got all the magazine cartridge, magazines and stuff on the other side. And I'm like, thank you. And I walk back out because I'm like, if he feels like he has to be like that, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, this could be
this is a bad area. I'm getting
was this like south of Broadway and in Central or something?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think it was pretty much the area there.
Oh boy.
So I was like,
the junkyards are.
Yeah. So I was like, Yeah, that shop's gone now. I think it was probably gone a long time ago, as a
Oh
matter of fact.
yeah,
But I
I
was
would
like,
say, geez,
man, okay.
wow. Yeah, that
Yeah.
can set a vibe.
Definitely
Um,
said about I had
I think
just
that's
moved
a
here.
unique one.
I just moved here from the Bay Area. I think that was probably the first time I ever bumped into somebody who was open carrying.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Yep. Wild West, Phoenix.
exactly. So,
Everybody's got a.
well, that's why everybody's so polite here.
Oh yeah. Click red stapler.
Hmm. So anyway,
Yes. So,
I go into my local shop one day and I'm hanging out there because it took me 8 years to crack the nut of the guy who owns and runs the shop. And I happened to be in there one Saturday afternoon hanging out, and it was the coolest thing because it was raining out that day, and the foot traffic was real light for the store, so it was just me and him in the shop. And I'm going down my list for paint and everything, and these two older ladies walk in, and they come up to the counter, and he says, "Yes, can I help you?" And they said, "Well, do you have paint?" So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see how he answers this question. So he goes, and he gestures to the store, and he goes, "Yeah, I've got paint. What are you looking for?" And she goes, "Well, we need some paint so we can paint rocks." Why would you want to paint rocks? As he leans across
oh,
the counter, scowling with one eye. And the lady's like, "Well, it's a hobby thing. We like, me and my girlfriends we want to get into painting rocks and doodle faces." And he goes, "Oh, well, you need to probably go to a craft store then. There's several in the area." And then he gave them he ran down a list of where they're at and everything. And the two ladies walked out. And I'm like, even though you didn't have what they needed, there was a whole give and take there that just did not set well with my level of customer service that I would have given on that type of thing. So I was just like, wow, that whole thing just kind of soured me on the whole, you know, hanging out here type of thing. So
and
made my purchases and left.
and that probably answers my next question. Is that shop still open?
Well, this one is, yes.
Oh, okay. Then this is not the
But
shop I thought you were talking about.
no, the other shop, the smaller one that was 4 miles from the house, closed just recently. Oh, well, in the last year, I should say. But that guy had moved from one location to another, got a cheaper rent, was able to change his stock and save money on his his floor plan and like that. So he was really angling towards ramping up his business and being a lot more competitive. And then COVID hit, and then that just shut him down. He
Yeah.
he made
Okay.
record sales during COVID because he switched to an online sales thing, but he couldn't do foot traffic anymore. And then when things opened back up again, he had a 5-year-old daughter at home and a newborn baby and a wife with an autoimmune deficiency
Oh.
at home. And his wife worked from home, so he's like, I need to be home taking care of the kids. So he was only open for 3 days a week.
Oh yeah.
And that
Yeah.
really hurt him in the long run. But um, I think we should take a break here. When we come back, I'll tell you some stories that he told me.
Yeah.
But I'll
Definitely.
tomorrow.
Definitely. And we're going to take a break. That just what BG just said.
Magnum will return after these messages and station identification.
All right, we're back. Got
Yeah.
that out of the way.
Yeah. Pay some bills.
So this shop that you know this, it's kind of unfortunate what happened, but it's kind of like it, when you look at it, that's a good example of a shop that didn't make it, but you can't blame it on the reasons that a lot of people like to blame why shops close down. That's also kind of a unique one.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you really think that shop closed? I mean, this is kind of what we're getting at is why do some shops fail? But yet here there were how many other shops in this town that made it through the COVID thing? And like Andy actually he did really well. He was like, when they did the mandatory for 2 weeks, had to shut down. So we really didn't have it. It wasn't like a lot of states in this country. We had it pretty good here in Phoenix. It almost like really didn't change a lot. And
No.
it was only a mandatory shutdown for 2 weeks. And
Right.
and
And
Andy,
it was city by city too.
yeah, that's true. I don't know what it was in your city.
Chandler was one of the proactive ones that tried to keep a lid on it because Chandler has a lot of retirement homes here.
Yeah.
So the overall populace of Chandler is a high risk majority. So,
But how long did he have to shut down?
he actually stayed closed until he said, "I'm staying closed until the numbers start going down." So he stayed closed of his own volition. At
Okay.
first, he closed because he was supposed to, and then he's like, "I have medical needs that qualify me staying closed." So I was like, "I fully respect that." But he had a Facebook page and an online website, of course, and you could go there and place orders, and then he would go in and fill those orders for that day, and then you would tell him what time you're going to be by, and then he would walk out and leave it on the curb for you. You know, run back inside, run your credit card, and come back out, and then off you go. So he was doing a curbside service, and I was fine with that. I was still getting the product and stuff I needed, but he was like he had to add to the model car aisle that he had, and he shrank his military area, shrank his airplane and ship area, so he could expand his model car area because he's like, I can't keep stuff in stock. People are cleaning me out. So he was doing good. He was doing good. And then after COVID and everything, and then I think it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, I'm going in there and I start recognizing that nothing's really shifting on the shelves and the same stuff is always there. And I asked him, it's like, what's going on with your stock, type of thing? Are you having, supply issues and stuff? He goes, yes, I'm having major supply issues. I'm like, well, some of the other guys in the area aren't having the same issues. He goes, no, because they are a larger scale business than I am. He's like, I'm literally at the bottom of the supply list. He's like, Ravel, Round 2, Tamiya USA, and then anything else that gets imported in overseas. Because he would have some really cool import kits, but they were very expensive because he wasn't getting good deals on that stuff through his suppliers. So I started talking to him about it. I was like, well, what's going on? He goes, well, I'm at the bottom of the list, so I don't get the stock. And he's like, when it's time for me to actually be able to go and get stuff filled, there's nothing left for me to get at the warehouses.
Yeah.
He's like, something's going on that's clearing everybody out. He's like, I have no idea what's going on, but he's like, us small time guys, we have no chance of getting stuff filled.
Yep. That's probably, that right there is probably the big issue, because one thing about a hobby shop is, that you better have a packed store of stuff.
Yeah.
People are going to say, when they see empty shelves or something, they're going to like, especially when in this town, there's so many other hobby shops.
Right.
Now, a small town, they're probably grateful for what they got. You got to keep it going somehow. That could even hurt that store, because then you don't have a lot of customers because it's a small town. But there is obviously, we've seen examples all over the country of hobby shops that did very well, made it through, and even new ones that have come up since. And they're mega places like, an example is Andy's. Obviously, what he's done, he was able to make it through it because of he was getting that online thing going, his notoriety. He's probably the most well-known little hobby shop in the world. But I do believe, because I know how he always ran his business, he would have made it if he didn't have that, because he had a philosophy in having a store. He was willing and was, he was also able to have the investment of, what he called wallpaper. That guy never allowed his shelves to decimate. He never allowed. And one thing is, when he ordered stuff, he doesn't order onesie twosies. He always would order cases.
Right.
a new kit coming out. Everything too, and he's just and that's why he also kept his store just as a model kit store, just plastic models. That's it. But all the variety of it, easier to keep up, and he also didn't have employees, which was a big plus. So that was I think that's the key to his existence. There's a lot of stores like that. The bigger stores that had multiple employees and multiple departments, they kept there's a chain here. They're only down to 2 stores now, but they've been around since the early 80s is Hobby Bench. And they're another store, every once in a while I'd step in there and look. I'm not a fan of that store, but I got to respect them.
Their model section seems like it kept shrinking over time.
Their model section has shrunk, but they kept it pretty well stocked. But their thing is RC. That's where their bread and butter. RC and crafts is their bread and butter there. So they keep up with that. A lot of the stores that have survived through these past few years. And then, Tim Brown, he goes around. Well, he's been going to all these different hobby shops around the country, around his part of the country, doing his videos. If you haven't watched that, go over and he shows some really great little stores. But that one store that you and Linda went to over there in Louisville, that is his. He knows he's friends with the owner.
Yeah, Sensory Overload.
Yeah, and what is that store called?
I don't remember what it was called, but I suffered sensory overload when I went in there.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. But that store.
Oh, that place. Yeah, I like that place.
Yeah, but that guy has that same. His whole thing is, he stays open. I think he has employee. I'm not sure, but keeps those shelves stocked. He has he invests back into his business. And you have to keep the shelves stocked. And that's where that helped a lot of the guys. I remember the supply issue was happening. Andy, believe it or not, there was a lot of product that he couldn't get, or he'd order and never get sent, because he was actually on the bottom of the totem. Like, he is having a heck of a time still getting round 2 stuff. Because round 2 likes to take care of Walmart. That's another story. But there's some of the companies that like to put the big box stores ahead of other ones of the hobby shops. So they're kind of round 2's a little anti small hobby shop. Sorry, got to say that I'm big with round 2. Love what they do, but I just wish they would take care of the small hobby shops a little better. But Andy can't get their stuff lots of times. But what he does when he can get it, he loads up. So he keeps his shelves full. He doesn't just buy 1 or 2. That's where a hobby shop can really hurt itself, I think. Is, well, I'm just going to get 1 of each of everything. But then, especially nowadays, you can't get stuff so quick. Well, now it's gone, and now there was like 7 people. Well, they're going to go find it. So they're not going to wait for you to get it and then buy it off you one at a time. You got to have a stock of them.
I remember back during the COVID stuff, when people were having a hard time trying to find TS14 gloss black Tamiya. And my friend Jeff Ciancanelli reached out to me. He goes, dude, I cannot find TS14 to save my life. And I'm like, well, I actually have a can on the shelf. Do you want it? It's like, sure. Okay. So I mailed it to him.
Oh boy, aren't you a nice guy?
I went down to the local hobby shop and bought, cleaned them out. And then he's like, you buy a lot of TS14 and you also buy a lot of primer. Why don't I just order in cases of that stuff for you? I'm like, you can do that? He goes, yeah. I would on the next truck, next Thursday or whatever. So yeah, so I would order cases of primer to the guy. And then I would go pick it up, and he'd always have some protege there behind the counter that was helping him out. And the kid's like, why is this guy buying a whole case of primer? He goes, have you seen his sales history here?
Yeah.
Be nice to him.
You like it.
Yeah.
You're drinking it, right?
Exactly.
You just cut the top off. Yeah. To each his own.
Let's just say my insides are primer gray.
Oh, nice. Squeaky clean too. Yeah, that's with the supply thing, there's still an issue. It's not as bad as it used to be, but you gotta got to know that things aren't the way they used to be, and you really got to load up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, and not Andy, that the Kentucky store, the Louisville store. There's been all these other hobby shops that like Tim ventures into. Michael Guest, there with his I'm going to slaughter his name. Wings, Waves, and Wheels. I probably got that all mixed up. Sorry, Michael.
Dub.
He's great. I want to have him back on my podcast too when he gets moved. Now he's leaving where he's at, and he was very successful there. And of course, he is also the owner of MCW, so that's a big thing that helps him out. But his hobby shop does very well.
Is his hobby shop moving also, or just him?
Yeah, he's moving his hobby shop. But if you get a chance, everybody out there, if you haven't seen the podcast that I have Michael on, I had it at the beginning of the year. We take a tour of his hobby shop. Back to what we were saying, he's one of those owners that makes friends with all his customers, especially his regulars. He has a place for everyone to hang out. They want to come. Different evenings, he has different clubs. He loves it. He does that, and people buy from him when they're hanging out, and it's just good business. But they feel like, hey, this is my clubhouse, and so that keeps people walking through the door. And you could see, if you go and look at his shop, it's loaded. It's full of everything, and he kept it full. And he's moving down to North Carolina, I think at the beginning of the year. It's sad for the guys he's like way up in northwest, I think up by the Cleveland area in Ohio.
Yeah, that was in Ohio, yeah.
And it's a bummer for those guys that really, that's how popular he was. But, his life choices, he wants to go to North Carolina, probably get out of that snow.
I was going to say North Carolina has way better weather than.
Oh yeah, and he's moving to an interesting part of North Carolina where it's very centrally located. It's not going to be hard to get to his place, so I think he's going to have a lot of people come to his place and venture to it because he's not too far from the major cities.
When is this scheduled to happen?
What's that?
When's this scheduled to happen?
I think he said like in January, February.
Will he have a store up and running by Acme?
I think so.
Because
he will way by Acme.
The mother-in-law is in North Carolina. We're supposed to go up and see her.
Yeah, you should swing in and say, "Hey, do a video there."
Hey, you don't know me, but I know you, so we're friends.
He probably knows you. He's probably watching right now. But he's a guy who, you gotta get with the times and diversify and get into doing the online thing.
Yes.
But you know what?
Online thing is a major factor.
It is, but you know who breaks that rule? Is that Louisville shop. He doesn't, as a matter of fact, Tim was telling me, the guy was like, "Oh geez, you did that video on my store, and now I got all these people that want to order from me," and he was shipping out stuff, and it's like he doesn't really do the mail order thing. His business is concrete enough. He doesn't need online orders and stuff.
Well, there's that Ace Hardware down in Tucson. They don't.
Look at them. They got a thing going.
Online, but those guys are there. When we were there last, they were actually taking up the floor tiles and stuff because they're getting ready to move everything around inside the hobby shop area because they were blasting a hole in the back wall and expanding the building out farther beyond.
Wow.
That's how much stuff they wanted to pack in.
There's that much hobbyists down in Tucson, huh?
It's pretty much the main show down there in Tucson.
Tucson used to have like 3 or 4 hobby shops at one time, but I know that they all fell. So they were little places. And
talking about older shops fading away or going away.
Yeah.
We happened to be in Great Falls, Montana many years ago, and we were there for family business. And I had my fill of family business, so I borrowed the rental car and went off on my own, and I found a hobby shop. And it was in this beautiful old building, and you walk inside, and it smelled of dust, right? Like the right kind of dust.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
So I was like, oh, this takes me back to my childhood,
Yeah.
So then it starts to dawn on me that there's the whole floor is just covered in aisles with just stacks of stuff and everything. But then there's like this mezzanine tier that goes all the way around the building in a horseshoe shape, and there's rocky landscape and cactuses and stuff like that. And there's like a stuffed coyote looking right at you when you walk in the door, and a couple of buzzards and eagles. Everything's just all stuff. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I ended up talking to the little old lady that ran the place, and she was in her 80s. And she just sat behind the register. And she just brought up stuff and she rang it up. Like, do you have any? She's like, it's on aisle 4 over there, type of thing. So like, okay, great.
You
So
knew the whole thing.
She just knew the whole thing. She had it all mapped out in her brain. And some lady comes walking in, looks like, do you have such and such kind of beads? And she goes, oh yeah, they're right over there. Never moved a muscle, but knew everything is that. And I mean, it was one of those shops where you had to roll up your sleeves and dig through stuff to get, because stuff was stacked in front of everything. Because she'd get a shipment in, and somebody like a grandson would help her unload it, just toss it on the shelf and walk away. So you had to dig through stuff and blow dust off of things. And like, this is a hobby shop. This is
old school hobby shop.
So I got to talking to her. And she says, you're really lucky you came in today. And I'm like, why is that? She goes, because next week we're closed. I'm like, oh, you going on vacation? She goes, no, we're closed.
Closing. Oh,
and I'm like, why? She goes, I've been doing this for 60 years.
Time to end.
My husband and I started this 60 years ago. He's already passed away and gone. She's like, I have everything here. She's like, nobody wants to buy the place. None of my family wants to take over it. We got a really good they own the building and the property. So she's like, I got a really great offer by the local Lithia Buick dealership to buy my land and turn it into a parking lot for their dealership.
Yeah.
So she's like, everything's going to get liquidated next week. And I'm like, too bad we're not going to be there next week.
Wow,
like,
that's sad.
It's going to get liquidated.
Oh, boy.
And I went and I talked to Linda about it. And Linda's like, I remember that hobby shop from when I was a kid. I didn't know it was around.
Really? Where was this at? Where you guys?
Falls, Montana, where Linda grew up.
Oh, okay.
And she's like, it used to be over on such and such side of the street. I'm like, yeah. And I said, 20 years ago, she moved to this side of the street and took over this old Sportsman's Warehouse place, and then left all the stuffed animals and stuff up there. And
I guess I'm to keep the hood on. He's
just
not having it any. We got to let. He's the program director. Got to do what he says.
He said, "There's a glare here."
Can I have it off? It's hot. Oh boy, it's hot. He's not going to allow it. It's got to be that way.
You have to sweat it out.
Yeah. Well, literally. And that's an interesting point, because there's so many hobby shops that are shutting down that you hear that they've been around forever. Those real old ones, there's nobody interested in buying them. And I think they're not interested in buying them or family taking over, because there's this little buzz in the air saying that these hobbies are dead and there's no way they can survive.
Right.
And I bet you because there's been a lot of hobby shops that have been bought, and new blood coming in makes them, they become very successful. I really believe that. Okay, Felix. All right, now he's getting down. Woo, that's hot. I really do believe that, and he's back there laughing at me. I don't. Who do I call about these work conditions? I don't think I need to take this from the boss, do I?
There should be a poster in the break room about that. I'm
going to read that down, and I'm going to make a phone call. But anyways, continuing on.
I'm going to have to.
I really believe that almost anywhere you can open up a hobby shop, and if you do it right, it will be successful. I really do think that a lot of hobby shops shut down, and I don't mean to offend. If I ruffle any feathers, I think hobby shops, their failure is, I don't even want to say failure. Let's just say it's circumstances sometimes that creates them, because I don't think your friend failed. It was just, there's no way he wasn't sustainable with how he had to run his business because of his situation. Not his fault, but you got to be able to put the time in, put the money in, and I believe any hobby shop can be successful. I believe that it closes down because of how that shop is ran. And I just really believe just because the hobby is doing so well. And I don't think it's not kids, because really the hobby's grown by guys our age. I'm constantly, how many times do we see someone join the Luka Cee model car hobby headquarters, the BG, what's yours? Plug yours.
Oh, BG Model Workshop.
Yes, these two things. How many times you get a new member and they go, I'm brand new into the hobby, I'm 56 years old, I was cruising on this stuff. So they see the stuff on Facebook, like,
yeah,
this is neat, I just bought my first model, this is fun.
Yeah, well,
I'm seeing it more and more.
That was my friend Mike Coombs.
Yes.
Got back into it again after being away for 30 years, something like that.
Yeah, and he's like light speed on it too.
Yeah, he's building up that stash. He's gonna rival me here pretty soon.
Yeah, he sees our stashes and goes, yeah, that's what motivated me back when I was young, getting started. It was there is so much new people coming into it, and so many people came in during the lockdowns and all that. Yeah, it was obvious, but they're all sticking with it. And I've been watching a lot of posts of new hobby shops popping up or closing. It's constantly comes up on Facebook, but there's one particular, this is interesting, which kind of goes into something I want to talk. There's this new hobby shop up in Vegas called Downtown Hobby 9. They've got there's their Facebook. But what was cool is
I didn't get to go to that.
Jasper De Jesus, I hope that's how he pronounces his name. He's apparently the owner, and he got onto the local clubs up there in Vegas, and he posted something really cool. Hello, everybody. I'm a small hobby shop here. I went ahead and he shows a picture of his shelves of all his model cars. And what he was doing is when he opened, everybody came in. He wanted, what are you looking for? What do you like to see in a hobby shop? So he's trying to keep up with what people are suggesting.
Oh, okay.
And the one thing that he really stressed that he said is, I want this to be a place that people hang out, talk about the hobby. He's welcoming. He wants to be friends with everybody. And that brings us what we're saying is like that right there. If the guy can keep it up with loading his shelves, that's the one thing he's got to work on. He can have an extremely sustainable hobby shop up there.
Right.
Because I think that is really the key. The two things. Keep your shelves stocked with multiple of the same kit. He's just starting out. Hopefully he can get going. Like he had the picture, but he had like one of all the kits and he had a really nice display. He just needs to pack those shelves. It's going to be a heck of an investment, but it'll pay off. He'll stay all around. But that is like the big thing is his attitude is amazing. So I made a post kind of saying to all the guys up in Vegas, I go, I'm down in here in Phoenix and I could give you a little thing of, like Andy's success, why. And I said that, but I just mentioned to everybody, I go, you guys got something really good in the making right here. Support this dude, support him, go in there, hang out. He wants you to buy from him because help him grow. It's like, take your 40% coupons from Hobby Lobby and just don't worry about theirs. Pay a little. It's not really that much more, quite honestly. Spend a little bit more money. Yes, it's more expensive. Everybody wants to find a deal on a kit, but go support your hobby shop. If you want them to survive, they need you to survive. If you want him there and you want to have fun, look at it as investing in your little clubhouse, your little home away from home, your little hangout where all your friends congregate. You meet new people. You get a club going. That's the thing. Support this guy. Support guys like that. How many times do you hear people say, oh, my hobby shop closed down. I've been going to that forever. This is so bummer. The hobby's dying and that's why they can't make it. But over in Hobby Lobby, they got their 40% coupon sale today. And over at Walmart, they're selling all these round 2 kits. Okay, that's wonderful, but that's a big thing. You complain about your hobby shop shutting down, but you're more into getting that deal. And we all got to watch. I understand. We're all not made. Believe me, I'm not made of money. You know me, BG. I still will pay more to buy off of Andy, and it's not that much more. Not that I don't go to Hobby Lobby, but it's very rare I buy a kit from Hobby Lobby. I'll get it at Andy's. It's a few dollars more. I'd rather invest in Andy's because I want him to stay there.
Yeah.
And that's the attitude everybody's got to have. And maybe if you stop doing this, and the hobby shops will come back.
Well,
and let's take care of the hobby shops.
With Jay down the street here at Hobby Destination, I would go down. I would watch what's new with round 2 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, okay, that's something I want. I'd write down the part number on that thing, and I'd go down to the store and I'd be like, hey, can I order this? He's like, okay, I'll have it here in a few weeks.
Yep.
He's like, why? Yep. You can go get this at Hobby Lobby or someplace like that for cheaper. I'm like, no, I want to order it from you.
Yeah, I do that with Andy all the time. As a matter of fact, just recently I said, hey, is this kit still available? Are you going to be getting any in? And he said, yeah, there's got it. I'll be getting some in. Okay, I'll just wait till you have it. I know right now it's a kit I could go to Hobby Lobby and buy if I catch them on their 40% coupon. But I've also discovered that 40% coupon thing, am I really saving it much? Because I did buy a kit. I was in there with Felix and he wanted a kit. Everybody saw it. I bought a kit from Hobby Lobby, used their coupon. I was shocked at what it came out to be. It turned out Andy had the same kit and I could probably got it. It would probably cost me $5 more buying it from Andy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Felix wanted it. It was that Hot Wheels Camaro. It was that spur of the moment buy for the kid, and he wanted it right then and there. Now he doesn't care. We're probably going to build it here soon. But you look at it.
Did he come home and just put it on your shelf?
Yeah. Well, Hobby Lobby will do their 40% coupon. Yes, they're 40% from what they are charging for the kit. But you go to Andy's, you go to a lot of these hobby shop. Andy's always has been one to have a discounted price.
Yep.
And you find out with the 40% coupon, you're really only saving maybe 10 or 20% if you just would have bought it from Andy's or any other hobby shop, I should say. I always say Andy's because that's my hobby shop I go to. But you do that. So you think about, okay, I just saved about $5 or $7. Yeah, that's really great. You say you basically didn't pay taxes. You got the kit without taxes. Fantastic. The thing about that is then you're upset when the hobby shop closed down because everybody's buying from Hobby Lobby and not buying kit. You go in there, you buy your little glues, and that's all important. But if you're only using your hobby shop to buy a little bit of paint, a little bit of glue, and that's it, but you buy all your kits at Hobby Lobby, your hobby shop is not going to last. And then you're going to be upset and blame the hobby and blame kids playing video games and blame the hobbies dying and everybody is just awful and everyone hates me. I'm going to go eat worms. Okay, if that's what you think it was. But if you would have just gone to your hobby shop, bought it there, spent a little money, make it to where look at it as it is an investment in your clubhouse. There's my rant for the day. Was that good?
That was a good rant.
Oh, thank you.
That was a good rant.
That hopefully down in the comments below, go ahead, throw your hate. But I'm sticking to my story, and I believe it to be true.
You know me. I have my number one rule about doing videos is do not do rants on camera.
Well, I base my whole channel on my rants.
I send out strongly worded emails. Dear Sir or
I
Madam.
can't spell, so
It makes it fun.
and that can. But yeah, it's so basically all in all. Let's like look back. I mean, do you have anything else to add before we kind of like do a summary?
Anything I have to add would just be another anecdotal story about personal experiences in hobby shops. So I don't know if I need to continue on with any of those. Because we've had wonderful experiences just about everywhere we went, to the point where it's like, okay, this is on the list. Next time we're in town, we're coming back here again.
Yeah, the majority of these hobby shops are really great. And you see it in Tim's videos. Like, oh my goodness, that giant it's the biggest hobby town. As a matter of fact, all the hobby
I've
towns
been
are
there.
closing down. You've been to that hobby town. That thing's gigantuous. But you also hear he's conversating with the guy there, and the dude's telling him all the stories.
Yep.
And it's just like, so there was a dude who was engaging. I think, basically the summary is the
I got one.
Go ahead, you do it, because
I got one for you.
Face closed up.
Me and Mrs. BG had gone down to Tucson to do the Ace Hardware store down there,
right?
To do a video there, and we went in and it was pretty slow. So we went in and we talked to the guy behind the counter. His name was Ryan, and I said, "Is it okay if we film for our YouTube channel? I have a channel called BG Model Workshop, and we do model car building and stuff like that." And the guy gets out his phone. He's like, "What's your channel name?" And I said, BG. So he looks it up. He goes, "Is this it?" So I said, "Yeah, that's it." He goes, "Subscribed."
Awesome.
Go for it. So then he goes over, and I see him showing his phone to two other of his coworkers there. And he goes, "Yeah, just check," pointing to us and pointing to the phones like that. And they're like, "Really?" And they pull out their phones. And the next thing you know, they're like,
"Sweet."
So I'm like, "Cool, awesome."
Yeah, so attitude.
And they let us film, and there was one part where Linda was filming an aisle, and one of the guys happened to be in frame. He goes, "Oh, sorry," and he's like up against the wall like this.
Yeah, yeah, they're these hobby shops.
They were happy to have us there.
Yeah, and that's the trick. You gotta as a shop owner, you got to let everybody know that you're happy that they're in there. And then you get to keep your hobby shop because they're there, and it's different than other retail. It's kind of like, also like, I'm into music, and you got to kind of like be that at the music stores too, because musicians like to go, and they can go and kill. Vince and I will go to Guitar Center or Sam Ash, and we can blow hours there playing guitars, talking to guys. And I know that whenever they have guys that kind of act like they don't really want to give you the time of day, it's kind of like, well, this is a drag. Let's go to Guitar Center then, or vice versa. It's like, but when you start to get a clerk there at these stores that are actually like you being there, let you feel welcome to check out the models and ask questions, or pull the guitars down, play every freaking guitar, touch every guitar in the shop, and they're cool about it and let you know you're welcome to do that, just as long as you don't play Stairway to Heaven. And that's the only, rule at a guitar store. Those type of, situations is you got to be open-minded to want to have a congregation or regulars that come in and hang out for hours and all that stuff. And if you make them not feel welcome, then they're never going to come in, because it's an important part of the hobby. Going to the hobby shop, going to the guitar stores, that's an important part of those hobbies.
Here's something else I'd like to add.
Go for it, please.
If you are a small hobby shop and you're watching this channel, I apologize, but
fair enough.
My advice to you guys would be, try hosting build events.
Yes.
Have a build day. Have an open Saturday or something. People can come in and build stuff. Or if somebody approaches you and they say, "We have a small club, we would like to use your space for our club meetings on such and such day," whatever, be open to it. When I was in Oregon, we were part of the OHMS Historic Modelers Group. We always met at Bridgetown Hobbies in the Hollywood District. Loved that store.
Yeah,
I miss that place so much. I miss the meetings we used to have there, because they would just be so much fun. The proprietor, if you were a member of the club, you actually got 10% off of your purchase on club days.
Yeah.
And when the store changed ownership to the new guy, it all just went down the tubes. He kept on Keith, one of my friends, kept him on at the counter there. And so that was nice that every time we went, we still saw Keith, got to talk to Keith and hang out with him. And but after the store changed hands, like all the prices went up. Everybody was having a hard time with customer service because the original owner, he was there all the time. Lovely to talk to. If you needed to put something on layaway, under the counter with your name on it.
Yep.
New guy, nope, no deals to nobody. Took away the 10% thing for the club guys, and then because he was hosting meetings at his shop, felt that he should be like alongside the president on how things should be going with the club. So
Oh wow.
things got weird.
Yeah, that's
so yeah. So then he
no bueno.
he ended up just closing the store one day.
He ended up what?
Ended up closing the store.
Oh, he did. Yeah. See, you're not.
After I moved out.
That's a perfect example. You're not going to be, when you're not a part of, the crew as a hobby shop owner, you got to be a part of the hobby.
Well, people still shopped the store because they had to. It was the only one in the area.
Yeah, that's not going to sustain you.
He had weird ideas about how much money he should be making in that, and when he wasn't making enough, he just decided to fold it.
Yeah, and I understand. You're in business. The key thing is he's got to make money.
I think
that's number one. But you got to realize in that business, if you have that attitude, you're going to make the money because the people are going to come in. What do you? Oh, thank you very much.
Well, this just in. We have to cut for a break.
Yes, let's do that, and then we can wrap this all up in a nice little bow. Seeing that it's Christmas time.
Oh, that reminds me. I got to pick out a kit for Saturday.
Oh yeah, I got one picked out. Ooh, I got to finish that model. I'll have it done. I'm going to be doing a video today about that. All right, so we will be right back.
You're watching the Luka Cee channel on YouTube.
So, man, this was a really good conversation we're having here, an interesting subject.
I agree.
Yeah, and so, I mean, we've touched everything on this. So basically, summarize here, hobby shops flourish or they fail, and why do you think it is?
I think it kind of boils down to the person behind the counter.
That and keeping that store full of stuff on the shelves. Even in these hard times, we've been in shops that it's possible. It's very possible. So if you're going to have a hobby shop, if you're thinking about buying a hobby shop, first of all, have the money to invest into a hobby shop. Or if you're buying one that's like, there's so many closing down, mainly that's the other thing. The one thing about closing down, lots of times it's an old hobby shop and it's, they want to retire. It's not about, success or anything. They want to retire.
Right.
Buy that store if you're looking for a hobby shop. I tell you what, if I had the money to invest in a hobby shop, if it meant I had to move to another town, I would look for that. I would buy one. I wouldn't open one. If you have the money to open one.
That's kind of the thing that Linda and I talk about sometimes is like, we would buy a hobby shop / yarn shop, and run that. But that would mean we would probably have to pull up stakes and move someplace else.
Yeah.
And during the summer, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely. And just be ready to, really, put yourself into it. You definitely got to enjoy it. You got to be willing to spend most of your time there.
That is a thing. So if you,
it's a time consumer.
Speaking to the Well-Stock store, another one of my local haunts, Hobby Depot. They had a store that was pretty large, but he was encompassing scale trains, model trains, and scale models, and a couple of other craft things. And he ended up moving to a new location because the lease was up and all that, everything that goes along with doing new leases and stuff. Went to a place that's half the square footage. He reassessed what sells and what doesn't sell, cut back on the stuff that doesn't sell, and then focused on what does sell, and then didn't really even have to provide more product on the shelves than he used to have, pretty much the same amount, but he's got a smaller area, and that store always looks like it's packed.
There's a trick right there. Yep.
I know. And I'm like, the trick of the eye does everything,
Yeah,
Nothing but sleeves.
Yeah, Andy was at one time the smallest hobby shop around.
That was a tiny place.
Yeah, he was packed.
Yep.
And with his success, he's now a pretty decent sized hobby shop. I would say it's still a small one, but it's a large small one. But it's packed.
Mm-hmm.
It's packed to he does not like empty shelf space.
Nope.
You got to do that. So go out there, everybody. You want your hobby shop that's still around. Kind of listen to the owner. If they're definitely nice people and want you to hang out, go hang out, buy from them. Sometimes just pay the little bit of extra, buy your kit from there. It's worth it. Look at it as investing in a hobby shop, because when they're gone, you're going to be bumming. And then all of a sudden, I need paint, and now I got to mail order it. And then what you do is you go to andyshhq.com and you can order all the paint, and they'll take care of you. But it's not as fun as walking into a hobby shop, especially when you're thinking here, wow, I really need this color. It takes me 5 minutes to get to Andy's, and I'll have the color in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of ordering it, you might have to wait a couple days.
Plus, there's the wonderful thing of walking into a hobby shop and going, "Oh yeah, I need that," and and this other thing.
Well, hey, it's like almost Christmas time.
That's right.
Let's get to those hobby shops and buy your kits there. And we got our model club meeting coming up at your place.
At my place. See how clean it is?
Yeah. Huh? And by the way, everybody, if you've been noticing at the beginning of my shows, past all my shows, including this show, that little,
the swap meet.
Mike's hobby, that swap meet, that I put it at the beginning of this, that it is got abruptly canceled this week, unfortunately, because of a Christmas parade. So that's not a bad reason to cancel it. It's a nice thing, but it just wasn't going to work out because, nobody would be able to get to the building because the streets where it's at, there's like a street that goes around it like that. And both those streets are closed and there's no other way in.
It's an odd area for street.
It is very odd.
I was dumping out the swear jar, starting to count all the money in there. That I saw that email, and I'm like, put the money back in the swear jar, plus some more money because I started swearing again.
Oh yeah. Yep. Bummer. It's funny. I get a call from Mike's buddy, Big Bob. They're a pair. Bob. And he was saying Mike was so deflated and bummed out and thinking, wow, everybody's going to think I'm unreliable. Okay. All right. He said, Mike, you've been doing this swap meet here in Phoenix, different locations since 1981. This is the first time he ever had to cancel, and he's all the hell about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's Mike. That's funny. It's like, oh, dude, no one's going to be mad at you. This is the first time since 1981 that he had to cancel.
I bought a kit from him at Model Zona. And I'm like, really? You want this? This is what you want for this? He goes, yeah. If it was Mrs. BJ, I would have given you an even better price. Asking.
Mike, he's a good guy. You guys, I'm showing a video of Mike. He comes to the club meetings. He actually, and he always asks. It's so funny. So I got via Big Bob text me last night. Mike wants to bring kit. Can he bring kits to the model meeting to sell?
Oh yeah.
He just wants to make sure he doesn't upset anybody. It's like, I've been telling you for years, Mike. That's what we have, a swap meet area. You even put it out the sign for.
Yeah, you guys don't know this, but because I'm hosting at this is a special occasion where we're hosting at my place.
Yeah.
And Luka sent me all the files and stuff to print out the swap meet sign and the table card tags for all the models and stuff for the show and everything, because he knew he was going to forget them.
Absolutely, I'd forget them. I have that kind of faith in me.
Yeah, there's nothing in the noggin.
Nothing in the noggin. Well, it's been a great conversation. I think it was positive. I think it was informative. We love our hobby shops. Take care of those hobby shops. That's the big message. Take care of those hobby shops. They'll stay around.
Yes.
And if you're a hobby shop owner, love us back. And I want to buy a hobby shop now.
Okay. So I guess we're not going to Taco Bell.
I'm going to have to save my money. There's no Taco Bell, but I will go to Andy's.
Okay. I'll go to Andy's.
All right. Let's go to Andy's.
All right. This has been Luka Cee.
And this has been BG.
And we were
the Model Car Guys. And we are signing off and off to Andy's.
Didn't know what you're setting up there. Here's the producers.
Oh, cool! We both got off the screen. Well, your hand was a little showing.
I ran into my rack. I think I split my knee open.
Well, last show I had my disaster, so you get to have your. You know, we keep one of us will wreck the illusion of us splitting screen.
Medic.